I think whenever talking about the lyrics, an important thing to look at is the overall theme of the song. Very often we can find the theme of the song by looking at the chorus. So this song has two different versions of the chorus. We have the third person version, which we have for most of the song, and then we have the first person version, which we have at the end of the song. I'm sorry, the direct address version that is at the end of the song. So at the beginning of the song, it's he's everything you want, he's everything you need. And at the end, it's I am everything you want, I am everything you need. So we'll just go off of the third person version for now, as the distinction isn't super important for what we're talking about. So the chorus says, he's everything you want, he's everything you need, he's everything inside of you that you wish you could be. He says all the right things at exactly the right time, but he means nothing to you and you don't know why. So what's the song about? The song is essentially the ultimate friend zone anthem, I would say. But it's essentially this guy looking at this woman saying, "You are looking for love in all these different places. You're looking for all these different things, but I'm right here and I have all those things. I am all the things you say that you want. I am all the things that you seem to need, but I mean nothing to you and I don't know why." Right? I check all the boxes and yet I'm in the friend zone. That's essentially what this song is about. And so it's important to understand that when trying to analyze the rest of the lyrics. So very often you want to kind of start with the chorus if you can when diving into the lyrics. And the part of the lyrics that I thought we should sort of narrow in on and had a concept that I thought was worth talking about is the bridge. So the bridge says, "But you'll just sit tight and watch it unwind. It's only what you're asking for. And you'll be just fine with all of your time. It's only what you're waiting for." Let's play it real fast. But you'll just sit tight and watch it unwind. It's only what you're asking for. And you'll be just fine with all of your time. It's only what you're waiting for. Out of the island. Goes into the third verse. So, one thing worth pointing out here, I think, is the chorus. You may or may not have noticed that it essentially is two groups of four lines each. He's everything you want, he's everything you need, he's everything inside of you that you wish you could be. Thought one. He says all the right things at exactly the right time, but he means nothing to you and you don't know why. So, part two. So four lines each. The bridge is actually, again, it's two pieces. Very often things are in twos in songs, but it's two sets of three lines this time. But you'll just sit tight and watch it unwind. It's only what you're asking for. And you'll be just fine with all of your time. It's only what you're waiting for. So we have two sets of three lines this time in the bridge. And this is something that I think we don't look at enough in songs, but a subtle, extremely subtle even. Most people don't notice it, don't never have even thought about it. Most people who aren't musicians don't really even know what a line in a song is. They've never even really thought about it. But a great way to add a little bit of variety to make your song not all sound the same is simply changing up the structure, how you structure your section. The chorus and the verses are in essentially sets of four lines. And the bridge changes it up by being groups of three lines. And then meter wise, for what it's worth, we have AAB, AAB. But you'll just sit tight and watch it unwind. That's the same meter, but you'll just sit tight and watch it unwind. It's only what you're asking for, right? So it changes for that third one. And you'll be just fine with all of your time, AA, same meter. It's only what you're waiting for. So we have two groups of three lines, AAB, AAB, which is very different than what we had in the chorus. Now, of course, the melody is also different, which is extremely important, and the lyrics are different. But sometimes just changing the structure is a great way to help have one section stand out from another. Another thing in this bridge lyric that I think is worth looking at is the rhyming. And that's because I often like to talk about how people overvalue rhyming and don't realize how many songs that they love and how many songs they listen to, don't religiously follow a rhyme scheme, break the rhyme scheme, don't rhyme at all. And the bridge is a good example of this, but you'll just sit tight and watch it unwind. It's only what you're asking for. No rhyme. Let's look at the second group. And you'll be just fine with all of your time. Okay, there's a rhyme. It's only what you're waiting for. So, if we were to look at the two sets of AAB, AAB, the first AA doesn't rhyme, and the second AA does rhyme. I've listened to this song probably 1,000 times. I've never noticed that. I've never cared, and I still don't care. I realized it when doing this episode. And for that matter, the chorus of this song, which is probably what made it a huge hit back in 2000, 1999. He's everything you want. He's everything you need. He's everything inside of you that you wish you could be. Huge stretch. You could say be and need have, it's a sort of a family rhyme uh, stretch. He says all the right things at exactly the right time, but he means nothing to you and you don't know why. There's almost no rhyming in that chorus. And it's one of the most like rhymy, memorable, simple choruses I've ever heard. I mean, like I think that's why it's a big hit song is that m- the chorus has so many elements that make it easy to memorize, easy to remember, easy to sing along with. It's not super high. Has a lot going for it. So rhyming, rhyming is you could just not rhyme. It's fine. It's fine. It's much more important to say exactly what you want to say. And you'll be just fine with all of your time. It's only what you're waiting for. That's great as is, right? It doesn't feel like that rhyme is forced. In fact, there's wordplay going on in there, which is something else that I think we should talk about. And actually, what made me choose this section rather than the chorus, which would be the easy choice, to talk about. So, the context so far in the song is essentially, there's this girl, she's got all these, not literally, but metaphorically, scratches, scraped skin knees, to borrow from a line in the first verse, and skid marks, right? So she's been through a lot and she's, looking for maybe someone to save her. It might be, a little uh, overdone perhaps, or just, somebody that will love her for who she is, whatever. And it's covered at this point. By the time we get to the bridge, we've had the first and second verse that, and we've had the chorus a couple of times. So it's covered that like, hey, this guy seems to be all of the things that you say you want and need, and yet you're not you're not interested, right? So she's doing nothing about the fact that hey, the solution might be right here in front of you. Which leads us to, but you'll just sit tight and watch it unwind. It's only what you're asking for. So there's wordplay in here. There's sarcasm in here. There's bitterness in here, which if there's one thing that I just think Vertical Horizon is just elite at, it's that exactitude of sadness, bitterness. Like there's always a bite to it, no matter how sad the song is. Just another example from another Vertical Horizon song is the song "Best I Ever Had," which on the surface is just super sad, mopey. Oh, you were the best I ever had. But even taking the first line of the chorus, but it's not so bad. You're just the best I ever had. Even that is dripping with some bitterness, right? Oh, it's not so bad. You're just the best I ever had. That that's the power of changing the wording or how we word things. Paying more attention to the specificity of how we word things. There's a whole different concept, idea that comes to mind when it's You know, if I just said, "Oh, you were the best I ever had," that's, whatever, who cares? But it's not so bad. You're just the best I ever had. That is way more interesting just by how it is worded. And going back to this song, but you'll just sit tight and watch it unwind. It's only what you're asking for. So a little bit of wordplay there, right? You'll just sit tight, which means, you'll do nothing. You'll sit tight and watch it unwind, right? So the inverse of sitting tight, right? Something being tight is it unwinds. It all comes apart. Is sort of the opposite of something sitting tight. And and by nature of sitting tight, you're going to watch other things unwind. So there's a little bit of wordplay, sort of two opposite things. You're going to get unwinding, ironically, by sitting tight, not by you unwinding. By you sitting tight, you're getting everything around you to unwind. And then the second part, and you'll be just fine with all of your time. So you have all this time, you'll be just fine. It doesn't really matter, which probably is sarcasm, right? That the way it's sung and everything sort of indicates this level of kind of bitterness and sarcasm. And you'll be just fine with all of your time. It's only what you're waiting for. So again, a little bit of wordplay. You'll be just fine with all of your time. You can take your sweet time. It's only what you're waiting for. So again, talking about time, really hitting on that concept of time with a little bit of extra wordplay. Um, so it's only what you're asking for, and it's only what you're waiting for is again, combined with how it's sung, it comes across with this pretty bitter sadness. It's not just, "Oh, woe is me. I'm everything you want. I'm everything you need. And yet you don't want me and I don't know why." Right? I mean nothing to you and you don't know why if we want to go exact on the lyrics. But it's only what you're at, but you'll just sit tight and watch it unwind. It's only what you're asking for. And you'll be just fine with all of your time. It's only what you're waiting for. Just the little nuances of how it's worded completely changes the tone and really helps to accentuate the bitterness and the sarcasm. Even if we just had it be, and you'll be just fine with all of your time, it's what you're waiting for. Versus, and you'll be just fine with all of your time, it's only what you're waiting for. That it's only somehow changes the tone of the whole thing. It's very similar to how I've talked about even I love you, and I love you. Just changing the meter of the sentence actually changes the meaning. But don't underestimate the little implications that you can add just by adding a little word like only. It's only what you're waiting for. You'll be just fine with all of your time. It's only what you're waiting for. But you'll just sit tight and watch it unwind. It's only what you're asking for. So be sure in your songwriting and in your lyric writing, man, you would be surprised at how big of a difference little adjustments can make. Hey friend, if you found this helpful, something else you'll likely find helpful is my free 6-step lyric writing checklist. If you want to take the overwhelm and chaos out of lyric writing, and instead you want to write precise, vivid, and intentional lyrics that you're proud of, then be sure to check this out. It's at songwritertheory.com/lyric checklist.